Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for scanning the QR code and getting on here to watch our parent meeting. Pre-K has a lot of information and it's very different than the rest of elementary school, even if you have an older kid. And so we have always have a parent meeting, and I've found that it's easier to do it virtually like this instead of at the teacher night when you're trying to fill out paperwork and the kids are around and there's a lot going on. And so thank you for taking the time to watch this and find out all about our pre-K classroom. So welcome to our class. We are going to have a great year this year. And so pre-K has two teachers. There's the lead teacher. I'm Kayla Elliott. This is my 6th year teaching pre-K at Crestline. And I also have an auxiliary teacher named Miss Dixie Putman. She is so fun and such a good asset to our classroom. This will be her 3rd year working with me in pre-K. And so these are our families. I'm married to Bo and have a 1-year-old daughter named Millie. And there's Dixie with her husband Michael, and she's got 2 girls, Piper and Olivia, and they are going into 2nd and 4th grade, and they love playing softball. So I had to get an action shot after one of their big tournaments that they won. So one of the main questions that people have is, how can we contact the teacher? How can we be in touch? So the main way that we are going to stay in touch with you during this year is through an app called Blooms. And I know what you're thinking. You probably have a million apps on your phone. You don't really want another one, but Blooms is an awesome app. It lets us not only send messages to you directly, um, almost like texting or chatting or something like that. But we also post pictures from our classroom on there and videos. It makes it really easy for sign-ups to, put different times or put items that we need for a party or anything like that. And so when you get all your paperwork on Meet the Teacher Night, we will have an information sheet about how to get on Blooms and how to join our private classroom on there. So just a little bit about our day and what pre-K looks like. If you came to the parent meeting back in May, you already kind of heard a little bit about our schedule and kind of know what a day looks like. But we have several whole group meetings where we're on the rug doing activities all together. We have small groups. We go to PE every day and recess. We eat a lot. We have breakfast, lunch, and snack. And then we have a time called centers, which is essentially our playtime, but it's a lot more than that. And so when you come to our room for the first time, you'll see that our room is divided up into different learning areas. There's blocks and reading and writing and math and fine motor and art and dramatic play, which is what like the kitchen is. And kids are not only playing during that time, but they're learning and working on so many skills, not only social skills, emotional regulation, how to get along with their peers, how to share, how to clean up, and then, of course, the skills that those learning areas are working on. And so we have about an hour every day of that center time where the kids get to play and be kids, but still learn a lot through that time. And then we end our day with a nap time. We have cots in the room. You don't have to send anything for nap time. I always get a lot of questions about that every year. We have sheets that fit specifically on the cots that we wash weekly, and so you don't have to send in anything for nap time. So obviously we don't do grades like the older grades do, but we still think it's important to keep data. We are teaching the preschoolers, and we want to see what they're learning and what they maybe need extra practice on. And so pre-K uses this tool called the GOLD assessment, and it goes through all the developmental domains. So it's not only showing skills for math and literacy, but we're also looking at social emotional skills, physical skills, language skills, as in their actual speaking language skills, science, social studies, and art. Oh, and their cognitive skills. Thought I was missing one. And so, what this book is it has skills under all of those developmental domains. Some of them are very specific, like in math, counting. Some of them are more subjective, like in social emotional. The very first standard we have is manages feelings. And so, how it works is that under each of those skills, um, there's a line about how a progression. That's what I'm looking for. There's a progression about kind of what is typical for each age and what we expect our preschoolers to be able to do. So that's kind of our standard for saying, oh, we need more practice on this, or oh, they're on target or they're ahead. And so we, Miss Dixie and I, take notes on the kids. We take pictures. We just write notes, and we put them all into this gold program online. And 3 times a year, we have to have notes on every kid for all of those standards. And that is what lets us, make sure that we are observing the children, keeping data on them, and teaching what skills they need. Okay, so transportation for school. Pre-K students have to be walked up to the door for both pickup and drop-off. You cannot use the car line for preschoolers. Preschoolers have to be walked up to the door. It's a safety concern. It's just a requirement. So even if you have older children, even if someone else is dropping your kid off, they have to come to the door. They cannot use the car line. Preschoolers also cannot ride the bus. Preschoolers are required to have seat belts. If we ride the bus like for field trips or something, we have a specific pre-K bus that has seat belts on it. So preschoolers are not allowed in the state of Alabama to ride the normal school bus. And so if you are looking at Crestline, so here's a picture of Crestline, you see the front door kind of to the right. That's where the car line's going to be. The door to the left where that arrow is pointing is the pre-K door. So you will park in the gravel parking lot and walk your child to the door both in the morning and in the afternoon. That is also the door for our students with special needs and our handicapped students. Their parents will be pulling up to the door and dropping them off right in the doorway. We don't do that. That way we can leave it open for those students that cannot walk from the gravel parking lot, or that raises more safety concerns doing that. And so please don't pull up to the door. Park and walk your preschooler up to the door. And then when it's dismissal time, you'll do the same thing. You'll just be at the door waiting for us, and we'll open it up and send the kids home. The drop-off time has also been changed. If you have been on Facebook, you've seen that announcement. Our elementary times, all of the ones in Hartselle, have been bumped up 5 minutes. So at Crestline, the bell rings in the morning at 7:40. So if you're at 7:42, that's late. But the doors open at 7:10, and so like if you've got to get to Huntsville to work or something like that and you need the kids earlier, 7:10 is the earliest you can drop them off. Now I always add this caveat too: we don't go to the classroom until after the bell rings. So our kids are sitting in the hallway with the teachers, of course, waiting for the rest of the kids to arrive and for the bell to ring so that we can go to our classroom. So if you drop your child off at 7:10, which I understand if you have to, but they're going to be sitting in the hallway for 30 minutes, which is a very long time to not really have an activity, to just be sitting there. And so if applicable, I request that you bring your child closer to the bell ringing. Now, I don't want you late or, trying to rush in at the last minute. But 7:30, 7:35 would be the perfect time. That way they come in, they have just a few minutes, and then they're ready to go to the classroom. Pickup works the same way at the same door. You will receive a little piece of construction paper, cardstock, that has a specific number for your child. So you'll get 2 of those at the Meet the Teacher night, and that's what you use to pick up the child. So that's your identifying factor. If grandma's picking them up or if their uncle's picking them up, they need that card. And it also helps to let us know if it's someone unusual, to just send us a message on Blooms and say, hey, so-and-so's uncle's picking them up today. They'll have the card. That way I know who they are, I know they're coming, and I know that they're safe to send your child out to them. And so our pickup time is at 2:10, and there's not as much of a window for pickup time. We really want you to be there by 2:10. By 2:20 at the latest, all the kids should really be gone. And so typically how this has looked in the past is that parents, leading up to 2:10, just kind of line up at that awning out there, and we open the door, and it goes quick. I mean, if you're standing there, within 5 minutes, all the kids will be out the door. And so you don't have to worry about waiting a long time or anything like that, but please be on time to pick up your children. So for after school care, I mentioned that the pre-K kids can't ride the bus, but there are 2 after school care options. They can ride the Kids Castle bus because it has seat belts. So if you need, after school daycare, pre-K can ride that bus. Or you can participate in Crestline's extended day program. Of course, there's fees associated with that, but pre-K is included. And so if you need more information about either of those, just let me know and I can fill you in. So speaking of being late and being early, pre-K's attendance policy. So obviously it's really important for kids to be at school every day. It keeps them in a routine. It helps them be learning. It helps keep us on track with the data we have to collect on the students. Um, it's just setting them up for success. And when they're missing school a lot or they're always running late, it's hard to get into that habit. We go straight to our classroom as soon as the bell rings. We're having breakfast, we're getting ready for PE. And so students who are running late every day, they're getting out of sync. One of the teachers is having to leave the classroom to go get them from the office. It, becomes a mess. And so our program doesn't have like the truancy laws like older kids do, since obviously pre-K is not required. But our program does have the right to dismiss anybody that's chronically absent or always tardy. And, I'm not going to be mad if you're running just a minute or two late every once in a while, but please try to be your best on time. And if something's going on, just let us know. If you're going on vacation or if you're going out of town, just let us know. But just because pre-K is not mandatory doesn't mean that you can just come in and go as you want. And unfortunately, we have dismissed kids from our classrooms because they weren't showing up, and that takes a spot away from somebody else. And so hopefully none of that will be needed, but I do always want to say that just to cover the basis. Okay, so if you're absent, like I said, it's not a big deal. If kids get sick a lot, you go on trips, you do something fun, just let us know by sending us a message on Blooms. That way we're not waiting for your child. We know they don't need breakfast, things like that. And then for the school office, you just send a parent note in their folders whenever they come back. So just, if you have a doctor's note, if they're sick, or just say, we were on vacation this date, sign your name. So the dress code. Obviously, we follow the dress code of the rest of the school, but really it should just be comfortable and age appropriate for preschoolers. They're going to get messy, not only with spills, with eating so much, but we have an art table. We're going to have paint out, Play-Doh, markers. We're going to go outside and play, and it may be dirty, it may be muddy a little bit. They're going to get muddy, and so just keep that in mind, or not necessarily always muddy, but they're going to get dirty. So just keep that in mind when you're dressing your kids for school. I'm all for some cute little outfits on some little girls, or some handsome shirts on some little boys. But if it's going to make you upset for it to get stained, then that's not what you want to wear to school. If it's not a big deal, you're throwing the washer, if stained, no big deal, then by all means, please wear it. And they're also going to be very active during the day. They need to move a lot. We have PE and recess, and we do gross motor activities in our room. And so they need shoes that they can run in, either tennis shoes or just shoes with straps. They don't really need flip-flops or boots or anything like that makes it hard to move around. So I've mentioned the folder a couple times already, but we will give them a folder sometime in the first couple days, if not the very first day. It'll have their name on it, and that's kind of the physical way that we communicate back and forth. And so we send things home, pictures they draw, little activities we do. Every Friday, I send a newsletter home that tells what we've been working on all week and what we've been studying. And that'll also be the place for you to send things back to school. So if you have a parent note or a doctor note for being absent, or if you just have something you wanted to send me, if you're sending money for the book fair, anything like that will go back and forth from the folder. And just take a quick minute every day to check that and make sure we haven't sent anything home. Sometimes there are time-sensitive things, specifically that the whole school is sending out, that you need to make sure you don't miss. School supplies. Your child for pre-K doesn't have any of the typical supplies. They only need a backpack, a lunchbox if they're going to bring their lunch, and a water bottle that they can easily open and close. We will keep the water bottles in their backpacks, and they'll take it home every day so you can wash it, put fresh water in there. And just make sure the backpack can fit a normal size folder in there. I can't remember if it's Pottery Barn, somewhere that has backpack sizes. There's a small or an extra small that people sometimes get for preschoolers, and it doesn't fit anything in there. I mean, it won't even fit a folder in there. And so just make sure whatever backpack you get fits a folder pretty easily in the backpack, because the preschoolers will be packing and unpacking their bag themselves. And so if it's a tight fit, or they kind of have to fold the folder to get it in there, it's it's not going to work out. And so just make sure the folder fits in there. And so that's it. We'll have all the typical things already that we just purchased with our pre-K funds, glue and markers and crayons and paper and all of that. You don't have to worry about any of that. We will send a little wish list home of just things that help keep our classroom clean and sanitary. So, we'll come out every once in a while needing paper towels or Clorox wipes or Germ-X or things like that. And we always appreciate those donations. Some extra clothes. So I mentioned a few slides back that the kids will be getting kind of dirty some days, not all the time. I don't want you to think we're just rolling in the mud or anything, but we're very hands-on. We're having fun. We're having a good time. And so all of the kids need an extra pair of clothes, even if you're not concerned about your kid having a bathroom accident. If they are potty trained to the T and have not had an accident in 2 years, that's great. But that doesn't mean that they're not going to have somebody spill their milk all over them, or that they're not going to fall in the mud at recess on accident or something like that. And so everybody needs an extra pair of clothes that we'll just keep in a backpack, in a Ziploc bag, sorry, not in their backpack, and put it in their cubbies. And that way it's easy to grab. If they do have to change clothes for any reason, we'll send their dirty clothes back home in like a Walmart baggie. And that we just ask that you, anytime there is dirty clothes, you immediately send clean clothes back the next day. Because if your child gets dirty and doesn't have any clothes to change into, then we have to call you, and you have to leave work, or your husband has to leave work or something, and that's just inconvenient really for everybody. And so we just try to be extra prepared and keep those extra clothes ready. Breakfast. So our class does have breakfast together every morning. It's part of our schedule, but your child doesn't have to participate in eating at school. So if you have older kids that eat at home, or it's just easier for you, your child can eat at home, that's fine. We will have a piece of paper in our paperwork that asks what your plan is for breakfast. And so if you just want to feed your child at home, you'll just mark that down, and it's not a big deal. We just ask that you keep it consistent, because if some days your child's eating at school and sometimes they're eating at home, it gets really confusing. They may end up eating 2 breakfasts one day or no breakfasts some days. I've had parents, be surprised. They told us they're going to eat at school, so we give them breakfast every day, and then they act surprised when they get the bill from the lunchroom that breakfast was being charged every day. And so that's why we just ask you to be consistent, whether you're going to eat at home or going to eat at school, just to make sure your child is fed and that we're not, overcharging you for food. Lunch. So we have lunch typically in the past at 10:40. I haven't gotten our schedule yet for this year, but I'm sure it'll be about the same time. And your child can eat in the lunchroom, or of course can bring their lunch. There's a menu on the school website. If you have a picky eater, and this is not the same as breakfast, your child is welcome to switch it up between bringing lunch boxes or eating in the lunchroom if they don't like what they're serving. That's more straightforward. If they have a lunchbox, we know they're, eating, they brought their lunch. And parents can come eat with their child. Last year, the policy was only on Fridays. So once again, I'm assuming that this year's going to be the same. And that doesn't start until after Labor Day. So that just gives us time to kind of get in a routine, get the kids knowing what lunch looks like and knowing what to expect. And then the Fridays after that, parents or guardians or other family members are welcome to come have lunch with them. You will pay for breakfast and lunch on My School Bucks. You will be hearing about that a lot. It's an online platform. You set up a little account, and it's pretty easy to use, and so we'll have some information about that for you. We will also have free and reduced lunch forms in your paperwork folder, and so if you think you apply for that, or even if you aren't sure if you'll qualify for that, go ahead and fill it out. If you think you may qualify but your child's going to bring their lunch, go ahead and fill that form out anyway. Our school gets extra funding based on how many students qualify for free or reduced lunch. And so having parents fill that form out helps us to get some of the extra funding and use those funds for other things in our school. Monthly tuition. So this is something else that you'll pay on My School Bucks. There is a monthly fee associated with the pre-K program, and you should have been told exactly what that was at registration when you registered your child for pre-K. But the payment's due on the 1st of every month, and that starts in September. And so just the kind of way, I guess we are in school almost the whole August since we're starting so early, but typically the first payment's due in September, and just the partial August goes with the partial December. So you'll have a full payment due in December, even though we're out of school for Christmas, and it just kind of balances out with us going to school in August. Parent participation. So hopefully you're excited about pre-K, and parents are so important, or guardians are so important in school for all ages, and just being involved and talking about what the kids are learning and participating in the activities. And so part of our statewide pre-K program is that it's required for 12 hours of parent participation. Now, if that sounds like a lot, like, don't panic. You're not going to be having to take off work a whole bunch of days and come up to school and cut out lamination or anything like that. But we will be expecting some participation from parents about different things. So it's going to be really easy to get these hours. There's 2 parent conferences that are mandatory. We'll do one at the end of the first semester and one at the end of the year. And that's what we talk about, our gold assessment with you and just how your child's doing and all those sorts of things. So you'll get time for that. You get time for watching this video right now. You'll have parent time for coming to the Meet the Teacher night. And then also we require parents or guardians to go on field trips with the students. And so we'll have a few field trips this year. I try to get those dates out to you as soon as possible. And so just be prepared that we will be expecting at least one chaperone to go with the kids on the field trip. And it's always a lot of fun, and parents love it and the kids love it, and it's a great time. So don't panic about the parent hours. It's really easy to get them. I just kind of wanted to let you know there'll be a contract in your paperwork that you sign saying that you agree to get the hours. And so I just wanted to kind of let you know what that entailed and what to expect. There's also going to be something called the ASQ. It will either be in your paperwork folder or we'll be sending it home the first week of school. But this is just a developmental screener. So essentially you're going to get your child at home and ask them a few questions and see what they can do. Can they trace this line? Can they hop on one foot? Can they use past tense verbs correctly? A bunch of random things like that. But it does not take long. It takes maybe 10 minutes. This is a required part of our statewide program, and it just kind of gives us a starting point. It kind of lets us see where your child is, where their strengths are, what areas we may want to go ahead and start working on, and it helps us save some time with parent help, because you already know your child really well. They'll be new to us, and I'll have to do it on your child if you don't do it, and so it'll really help me out if you guys take care of that ASQ pretty early on in August. So just a couple little classroom rules that we sometimes have discussions about. So we don't bring toys to school unless it's a specific show and tell day. Our classroom has a ton of toys. We have all kinds of activities. And so if a student has any kind of toy or stuffed animal or anything like that, they're not going to be allowed to get it out of their backpack. It's going to have to stay there. And just, we don't want anything to happen to the toy. We don't want it to get lost. We don't want it to get broken. We don't want someone to steal the toy. Just a lot of things can happen with it, and it's just not necessary because we have lots of toys. So please keep all the toys at home. And then just also be mindful when packing snacks every day. We don't let the kids have candy or candy bars for snack. So if that's what you pack, they're not going to get to eat it. They'll have to take it back home. And I'm not expecting the healthiest snack. You don't have to send vegetables every day or anything like that. But, just a nutritional snack that's not going to hype them up right before nap time, that's going to fill them up. With us having lunch at 10:40, the kids are often starving by the time we have snack about 1 o'clock, right before nap time. And so just make sure it's something filling. And please remember to pack the snacks. We had a lot of issues last year with parents forgetting the snacks regularly, and we were going through like 6 or 7 extra snacks that just me and Miss Dixie were buying ourselves. If you need assistance or support providing snacks for your child, please let us know, and we can see what they like and keep some of those snacks in the classroom. But if you have snacks at home that you're able to send, please remember to send them. One tip that I find is really easy, and the kids like it too, is if you pack several snacks, like in a big gallon Ziploc bag, and put it in their backpack. That makes it easier on you if you do it every Sunday or, just sometime over the weekend. They have snacks for the whole week. And it also lets the kids have a little variety. They get to pick, oh, do I want the cookies or the chips today? And so I have found that that works really well and that students enjoy having a baggie of snacks. We will make sure that they only get one snack out at snack time. So don't fear that they're going to get 3 snacks and eat them all at snacks. We'll make sure that they only eat one. Okay, so helping your child. This was a form that we sent out from the central office a few years ago, and I just thought it had a lot of good stuff. And so it's so important for parents and guardians to interact with your child. And so this is some of the ways that you can help your child in the pre-K year. Ask your child about their day. Listen to what they did during the day. Who did they play with? What center did they go to? Reading with your child at night is so important. And as we progress through this year, you can start incorporating other skills like asking them questions, asking them to retell you the story, making them predict what's going to happen next if it's a new story, things like that. Encouraging independence. So that's a huge thing we're working on in pre-K. They're packing and unpacking themselves. We're wanting them to start opening their food themselves. We work on zipping jackets in the wintertime. They're fully expected to be potty trained. That wasn't part of this presentation, but that should have already been made clear that they need to be fully independent in the bathroom. So start working on those things at home too. I know a lot of times it's faster just to do it real quick, but it really is good for your child to start gaining some of that independence. Checking the folder for information we're sending home, and reading that newsletter. I put in what small group skills we're working on and what our week looks like, and that's perfect for what to work on at home. You see, oh, they worked on counting 10 objects. Like, let me do that at home and just help further these skills and help my child get even better at that. And then, of course, attending the parent conferences will help you and me be on the same page and be communicating with each other about your child. Okay, so now to some logistics. We're almost at the end. So our start dates. If your child's last name is A to K, they're going to come on Thursday, August 3rd, and only until 11:15. So that first day is a half day. Our pickup will be at 11:15 at the pre-K door. If your child's last name is L to Z, they'll come on Friday. And same thing, it's a half day. They get picked up at 11:15. So that's just kind of a little taste of pre-K that first week, just a little drop in, and then we'll just dive in headfirst on Monday. Everybody will come, and it'll be the full day. It'll be until 2:10. So the first week they come Thursday or Friday, and it's only a half day, just a little taste. And Monday they'll come, and it'll be all day. The first day plans, like I said, they'll only come the first day. Pickups at 11:15. They won't need a snack because we're only there for half the day, but they do go ahead and pack their backpack, their water bottle, the extra pair of clothes, and a family photo. So the sooner we get those in, the better. We make a family book that has the pictures of everybody, and it has the child's name. So it'll say, Miss Elliott's family, and it has a picture of our families on them. And the kids get to flip through those. We leave them out all year long. It's a class favorite, but also, if they're feeling a little homesick those first few days, they'll have a picture of their family that they can go and look at. It doesn't have to be like a professional photo, anything like that. It can be a selfie. It can be just something casual. And if you have a split family, or if your child spends a lot of time with grandparents or just anything like that, you can send in 2 pictures. That's totally fine, so that the whole child's family is represented. Okay, so Meet the Teacher Night will be on Tuesday, August 1st. Due to parking, because of the new Crestline and everything, they had to split the times up for the grade levels. And so pre-K time is between 4:30 and 5:30. If you come after that, I'm not going to be there because that is for the older kids and they're going to need all the parking spots. And so 4:30 to 5:30. And please, please, please do your best to come. I know we've already, we're doing the meeting right now, but we have so much paperwork that we really need you to fill out. It'll be extremely helpful for us, and it'll just help you to meet me and Miss Dixie and help your child feel a little bit less nervous that very first day because they've seen the classroom and they at least know a little bit more of what to expect. Okay, I know that was a lot. I've blown through it. Hopefully everything was clear with it being my 6th year now. It's hard to everything's second nature. It's hard to remember what parents may or may not know. Um, but I hope that everything was clear. And if you have any further questions or, need clarification about something, come to me at the teacher night and I will be happy to talk with you about that. All right. Thank you so much.